terrorist. Hey.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to, March 12th, the Writing Sprints with your hosts, Abby Matthews, Hank Garner, and myself, Doug Lansborough. The chat is already a bumpin' as we prepared back here. We have B here, Ginger, Electrical. Who else we got in here? Ashley's in there. NJ, hello. Sarah's here. Hello. Stacy, hello. Shelly, Matalver, Emily. I think I caught Iva's here. If I didn't catch you, harass me about it. And someone shared that sprint already
look
for
at the
me.
crowd today.
I did. I jumped the gun.
And the crowd goes wild.
Rosalinda and J.M. Brown are here. Let us know what you're working on. And a quick shameless plug on behalf of my pal Hank. We have, after Writing Sprints today at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, episode 2, week 2, episode 2, the second installment of our short story challenge.
Number 2.
So last week we introduced it, and today we are continuing on with that. So
yeah, today we're gonna where last week was a lot of info dump. Today we're gonna have some lively discussion, and Abby, Doug, and I are going to show off our 3 different openings that we wrote as an exercise, and we're gonna talk about what makes each of them work or doesn't. I don't think any of the 3 of ours don't work, but we're going to talk about why we like one over the other and what each might serve, what purpose each might serve.
I'm convinced that Hank's going to tell me none of mine work. Like this is my fragile writer ego. You don't see this very often. I don't often voice it, but I'm like, maybe I should, just so everybody knows this is normal, because I'm like, crap, I have to show everybody. What if they don't work? Probably none of them works. Oh my God, they're terrible. I was like, oh, what's Hank
I don't think
say?
there's a shortage of fear or imposter syndrome in the writing community.
No.
So.
And you write live on camera every Tuesday. So,
yeah.
And, also have a box of Kleenex handy just in case.
I do. You think I'm kidding? It's right here.
Oh,
so.
Doug's been extra salty lately, so
I've actually been extra kind lately.
Well, I'm a grandfather, so
I want to point out here.
So what does that tell you?
Ashley can now do all the sprints and go to art classes. That's the one upside of daylight savings time, I guess. So nice. Savor that.
Nice.
However, having read all of the openings, and I think you guys have read them all too. There are some great opening lines.
There are some great openings in there.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, me too. All right, we have 1 minute and 40 seconds until the sprints. What are you two working on today?
Hey.
I've got a short story I'm working on, not the one for the challenge, but this one I've been working on. So I'm gonna dink in that a little bit.
Okay, excellent.
I like your description, dink. I'm just gonna dink around with it.
Yeah, well, but because we have a show coming up right on the heels of this, I'm not gonna get too serious into it because other things on my mind. But
conserve your energy.
Yeah.
I finished. It took me until 8:30 last night because I worked on it during the sprint yesterday, and then I worked on it again after dinner. The chapter by chapter outline of the book that I'm pitching, and my intent was to also write the query and send it off last night. And at 8:30, I was toast. And so I said to my husband, "I'm going to wait and do it during sprints tomorrow because my brain will be fresher, and I think I'll write a better query." So I'm going to take my query and adjust it to make sure it includes everything that this one particular small press is looking for. So
I'd love to hear you talk about how that chapter by chapter outline, how that has served you. What's that?
I said affected your mental health.
For sure, Doug. Nothing like that's make you question. Like, oh my God, I have all the pieces.
2 questions here from NJ before we get started. We have 15 seconds. NJ, we're tackling that after our sprint. Sorry, I didn't realize we were so close to the window here. Here's our sprint, and we'll see everyone in 20 minutes. All righty, folks, and we are done with our first sprint. How'd that go for everybody?
How'd you do, Hank? You're muted.
I said I'm winded from sprinting.
Oh.
How about y'all?
It was good.
Well, I finished my query letter and then I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go back and do just like a pass at like looking this small press up online a little bit deeper. And I did not like some of the things I started to uncover. So I'm going to hit pause on that. But it's good. I think we'll be able to kind of share this sort of information with everyone.
Good content.
Friday.
That's what I was about to say. This sounds like a fireside chat or a office hours.
Yeah, like let Abby make mistakes so no one else does. So
let Abby make mistakes in front of everyone and on camera.
That's our job.
How'd they do in the chat here? Shelly
got 467. Aaron edited a page with 83 words written. Stacy 483. Excellent. Ashley 530. Jacob's here. The famous Jacob Wright, our fearless leader, who I've been harassing to write some more
Jacob
words.
Wright?
The Jacob Wright. B got 525. Sarah got 237. Rosalinda 352. Iva 649, which I'm taking as a sign in Ontario. It's just Ontario? At least in Ontario, the lottery is Lotto 649. So
you gotta play.
I'm gonna get a lottery ticket. Thanks, Iva.
What does that mean?
I could not tell you.
Okay.
I
thought it was like a super secret Canadian, like a secret handshake that
I think there's a Lotto 49 as well, a very smaller jackpot, but couldn't tell you. Rosalinda wrote a torturous scene that was more torture to the actual author.
I think we all feel that.
And Emily got 3 openings. And it's hard. It was hard. I'm gonna be honest. I may have put more effort into some of my openings than one of them in particular, but we'll talk about that in the show.
It's gonna be so much fun, and you get to watch us blush in real time as we read our own work. Yeah.
But it's important, first of all, actually, it's important that everyone copies the workout that they did in that sprint, and we're going to go to the next one. Make sure I'll get the link for that in the chat.
NJ said, take chances, make mistakes, and get messy. I love that.
Yeah.
By the way, NJ, I answered your question in the chat toward the end of that sprint about, yeah, there you go. Short stories typically are 3,000 to 10,000 words. That's kind of the limits. Anything shorter than 3,000, you get into flash fiction territory. It's technically 1,000, but the shorter end of short stories is typically about 3,000. The upper end is about 10,000, but the 5,000 to 8,000 words is kind of the sweet spot where you can really take your time to unfold the story while maintaining a good, solid, fast pace with twist. And 5,000 to 8,000, which I tend to lean more toward the about 8,000 range. I've written a couple a little bit longer. Rarely anything shorter than 5,000. There's usually anything less than 5,000. You're really trying to make a particular point, and we can talk more about that probably next week before we get into it. But there's kind of a reason for if you'd want to go shorter than that. But anyway, that's just kind of the top of my head thoughts on length of short stories.
Can my short story be 50,000 words?
I mean, it can be. It'll be a novel, but you do you, Doug.
Is that considered a novella for adults?
I think 50,000 is like the...
Yeah, 50,000 is a novel. Novellas typically around 30,000.
Which is a full-length novel for middle grade.
Well, for middle grade, yes. But we're the default we're talking about is adult novels, no offense.
So, but that leads into my question that I had for you, Hank. Wait,
we have 20 seconds. Should this wait till after the sprint?
I'm just going to throw it out there for Hank to think about. Should a middle grade short story be fewer words than an adult? I'll leave it there.
Short answer, no.
Okay.
We'll talk about it
in 20 minutes. See you there, everyone.
Bye. Oh no, we lost
Alrighty.
Abby along the way.
We did lose Abby. Oh no.
Oh no.
That's okay. We'll carry on the torch.
I'll just say this, even though Abby's not here. I was doing some thinking about the middle grade short story, and I have nothing scientific to back this up with, but just my thoughts, because she asked my thoughts. I I would think that that the same rules would hold true for middle grade, young adult, or full adult. Because, and the reason I say that is because a short story is typically a narrower focus, smaller cast, typically one plot point. And whether you're talking about characters that are grown or characters that are in school, the story boundaries are basically the same. And if you're thinking about shrinking your story for the sake of young readers' attention span and that sort of thing, I think if you're in the 5 to 8,000 word range, I think you're safe there. So
Yeah.
that's the presumption I'm going on, unless someone can give me compelling evidence otherwise.
Well, you shared the lottery and was it Gift of the Magi?
Yeah.
And we can look at things like I read the yellow wallpaper back
Yeah.
then. We can look at those things and kind of
Mhm.
see at least what are they using in English class, or I guess I can
Right.
ask my wife, a teacher.
Yeah.
So so maybe I'll do that.
My son is also an English teacher. I'll ask him
Yeah.
as well. And
We have the resources.
between your wife and my son, I think we ought to be able to come up with an answer there.
All right. I want to talk about some of the results in the chat there just to
Yeah.
highlight some successes. But first, I am going to share the link to the third one. Sarah said before that limit for short stories was usually 4,000 for some UK anthologies, which felt too short. And I can see, I mean, that feels too short for me, but I can see why they would put a limit of 4,000 if they're putting together an anthology.
Right. And depending on how many authors are contributing to that anthology, that could, you could run up against some hefty word counts there. But
yeah,
most anthologies that I've contributed stories to have had a limit of maybe 8, 10 authors max. That way each story can have room to stretch out and be what it needs to be. I think if you're adding authors just for the sake of adding authors, although if we're talking about modern anthologies that are primarily Kindle published, word counts don't necessarily
doesn't matter
matter
that much. Yeah,
doesn't matter that much anyway. So yeah, that's something to think about.
Matulver said, "I'm flying through this. Congrats, thank you. I'm just feeling this story. It's good. It's refreshing. It's encouraging." B got 628 and finished. So B, you finished your book. Is that what we're trying to say here? If
Congratulations,
so,
B.
awesome. Congratulations.
Now, Doug, you said this book that you're writing, the third act is a little murky still for you.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting to see when you hit that point.
It's going to be sad to see.
If you slow down as you kind of, have to do the active thinking, thinking with your fingers. That's going to be.
Yeah, I will. And it's really murky because I don't I know how I want the story to end, but I don't know if I want this evil thing to be an actual thing that appears or to be more of an influence. I guess it's hard to put that into words. We have 53 seconds, but everyone else who shared their work, awesome, great job, congrats. I saw David here, back to the thumbs of steel, 249 words on the phone.
Speaking of that, did you guys hear when I interviewed James J. Butcher, Old Man Butcher's boy, last Friday? He said either 80% or 90% of his novels were written on his phone with his thumbs. Like, is that becoming a thing now? Like,
I mean, I can see it becoming a thing
because David is, a
different
freak of a specimen, and I mean that in the most endearing way possible. That's scary stuff.
On that note, writers and freaks. Time for our last sprint of the day.
Let your freak flag fly. That's what I say.
Alrighty, folks. I forgot to pause my music. I'm just vibing along here.
Or as my kids would say, was it a bop?
It is. They're all bops. Yeah. Say. Yeah, that is what the kids say.
The boppage is a given. I sent the bat signal out to my son and my daughter-in-law, who are both middle grade teachers, and asked the question about short stories. So when I get a response, I'll be sure to pass it along.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we will call it here so that we have a almost full 15 minutes before our next show. But
a full 15 minutes.
Yeah, we'll see everyone. I'm grabbing the link for that show. Let me give me 2 seconds just to get that. And Hank, what are we talking about in this week's short story challenge episode?
We're talking we're going to talk a bit about writing that first draft, because that will be our assignment for next week, will be to kind of blow through that first draft. But we're going to talk very much a lot today about openings and really sticking how you open your story and thinking about the ending of your story, because in my mind, a great short story can be kind of cyclical. By the time you get to the end, you're thinking about how it was opened and closing that loop, and the big emotional ending should feed back to the beginning. And anyway, just my theory on short stories, but it's worked well for me.
Excellent. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. Hopefully we see you in 14 minutes. If not, we will see you tomorrow. And
we won't see you tomorrow, Doug.
Oh yeah,
you'll see me and Hank.
Tomorrow, but you'll have.
We'll be here holding it down.
Don't you worry.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.